universalautomation.org. It's about sharing a technology, a shared runtime execution engine.
We call it a game change in the automation because we have first one technology which is based on the IEC 64099, which is the standard which aims at decoupling hardware and software.
Hardware itself is becoming very, very performant in terms of processing and CPU power, and the future is more and more about software.
This approach is really a winning approach because it's very, very flexible. You develop the application once and you can reuse in each different configuration.
That's exactly what Universal Automation and 61499 enables, because it brings a new formalism for developing software, which is object-oriented in nature and which allows deployment of a distributed hardware for the actual final control system. So let's say that it's a marriage made in heaven.
So if I want to make more conscious decision based on my business data, which also come from the automation level, I need universal automation to get this data in an efficient way and with the right engineering efforts on the level when I can do and run the analytics.
Offers are available, not just from Schneider Electric with EcoStruxure Automation Expert, but also from Advantech, from Stahl, from ESA in Italy, and from other companies.
Advantech is growing really, really fast. And I believe if you want to keep on growing in the next future, you need to be able to innovate. And when I see universal automation approach, it is exactly the way of innovation we need to go with.
Most of our customers from process automation are pretty conservative, so never change a running system. But now we see a new generation coming up, what is used to new technologies, and they are open to test, to try these new functionalities. And I think most of them pretty well understand the advantages on this. I'm doing this now for 20 years, and I think over the years, this is the most exciting changes.
And from my experience, I see that in the IT, for example, there has been a big revolution. And I expect the same in automation. I don't know when it will happen. Probably takes a little bit of time, but probably a revolution will come.
Hi to all of you and welcome. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning to those of you who are joining us from all the side of the world. I'm happy to have you today with us for this new session of the WhatsApp UAO. It has been a long time since we have discussed last. But today it's quite special because we get one of our newest member on board, which is the company Barbara. And they will drive us a bit more on the use of the technology, the 64099, and the way they are implementing it in their own use case with the company Acciona. So before we jump to them, just would like to tell you a couple of words to the next events which are coming, because as you may know, next week will be the SPS Fair in Nuremberg in Germany. And we'll have a live directly from this fair. So I'm happy to welcome you there. And for those of you who cannot make it and cannot join us on a physical basis, you can still follow what we are doing using this live session. So now I'm happy to welcome on the stage David Puon from Barbara. David.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Greg. Hi, everybody. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. Yourself?
Very, very good. Really happy to be here with you and all the audience.
Good. Tell us a bit more about your company, David.
Yeah, so Barbara is a company that has been around for the last 7 years. And what we do is we provide edge management and orchestration, which is a topic very, very related to runtimes and IC 64099. So when you have to deploy a large fleet of software PLCs or software in general, you really need orchestration. So our idea is to tell you more about this using a use case and also a practical demo.
Great. Sounds very interesting. So today you told me you want to talk to us a bit more about your use case with the company Acciona.
Yes,
Maybe tell us more about who is Acciona and more about your use case.
Yes. I think that the best way normally to understand the technology is through a real use case, and this is what I wanted. So if it's okay, I can start sharing my screen, and I can.
Sure. Go ahead.
And I can give you more information about the use case and how this is related to UAO and runtimes and everything. So let's start very quick with who's Barbara graphically. So Barbara, as I was telling you, is a cybersecure industrial edge orchestration platform, and I will explain much better what it is after. But we work with different types of users of different verticals. We work in the smart grid, water treatment, food and beverage, pharmaceutical, oil and gas, chemical, and many other industrial sectors, deploying industrial technology to the edge. In this case, today I'm going to use an example coming from one of our water treatment companies, which is called Acciona. Acciona, for those people who don't know, is the largest infrastructure management company headquartered in Spain, but they are operating globally in 25 countries. They have different divisions. In this case, the water division, Acciona Water, who is in charge of maintaining water treatment plants, desalination plants, wastewater, drinking water plants, and so on, wanted to execute a project. They wanted to have central management for their 150 plus water plants. So they have 150 water plants distributed all over the world, and they wanted to have centralized management. But the problem, I mean, this is something that they've been doing for their whole life, obviously. But the thing is that they really needed real-time data. So the data that they were having in their SCADAs was coming in many cases from manual measurement, from low frequency devices and so on. And in some cases, they had these measures every 24 hours. And this, for a water company, it's a problem because they may have even regulatory fines and regulatory compliance issues. If they are not able to report things on time or they report things incorrectly, it's a problem. So they wanted to have monitoring and management, but with real time. And this is very important. Another important thing is that they really needed cybersecurity, data privacy, so everything needs to be really secure because this is a critical environment. And they wanted to do advanced data applications. So they didn't want to do the typical data applications to raise an alarm or something. So they wanted to do machine learning and really innovative things. So there were some challenges when you are speaking about a large company like Acciona. There is a heterogeneity of the plants. So there are plants who are using some industrial protocols like Profinet, some others are using OPC, some other Modbus, some other are using one vendor, some other are using another vendor. So that's a challenge. The other challenge is that the connectivity from the OT network to the upper part, to the IT network or to the intranet or internet is very, very limited in this case. I already spoke about the regulatory compliance. They need to be compliant with norms like NIST or cybersecurity policies like IEC 62443. Then another challenge is that if you are working in let's say in a single location project, things are normally manageable, but when you have to scale from one location or from the laboratory from 150 locations is when the problems come. So this is scalability. And orchestration and what we do in Barbara and the demo that you're going to see is very related to scalability. And last, but probably the most important, they wanted to avoid hardware dependency. And this is where UAO and the IEC 61499 standard comes into play. Acciona is a company that manages plans for third parties, for water utilities, and they cannot ensure that they are going to be managing the same plan forever. So the contracts change every 4 years. So they really wanted to do everything with software. So if they want to change a contract to another maintainer, it's always simpler to take the software out than to uninstall 150 or thousands of equipment. So doing things in software, in portable software, is probably the key requirement for this project, and the reason why they are using UAO and IC 61499. So the architecture of the project is this that you're seeing in the screen. In the left part, you have what we call the edge computing nodes, which are industrial PCs. In this case, industrial PCs from Schneider, in particular the Schneider Harmony P6 model. But this is just a commodity. So the good thing about using UAO is that hardware is somehow a commodity, and it could be Schneider, but it could be, of course, Advantech or any other manufacturer. The most important thing is the software, but how you push software from to 150 plants. This is why we are using an edge management and orchestration platform. And this is manufactured by Barbara, and is the one that we will be showing in a few minutes. But what this platform allows is, first of all, manage the devices themselves. So manage the firmware, install security patches, change the network of the device, but more importantly, orchestrate applications, orchestrate software PLC logics, orchestrate visualization tools, orchestrate data gathering tools, orchestrate, which is a word that you will probably be hearing a lot in the coming years. So orchestration and other forums, like for example the Open Process Automation Forum, are very aware about the importance of orchestration. In our case, the orchestration happens during a secure, using a secure channel with MQTT, publication and subscription. And this channel, in the case of Barbara, is completely secure. It's always outgoing, always. So there is no need to open any incoming port into the OT network. So all the connectivity is outgoing, but through this outgoing channel, we are able to deploy these software applications and AI models into the devices. So if we zoom a little bit into the architecture, I don't want to spend too much time here because you will see it on the demo, but from the Barbara Edge platform, we are able to deploy different type of applications, like protocol connectors, AI models, like an AI model that Acciona is developing to predict the amount of chemicals that they need to use real time. And we deploy, of course, the runtime. In this case, you're going to see a demo deploying Schneider Soft Debug, which is an implementation of the UAO runtime. But of course, we can use other runtimes the same way that you will be seeing the Schneider runtime here, which is, again, it's a UAO particularization done by Schneider. But the point is that from this centralized management system, we are able to deploy applications into 1, 2, 3, or 150 industrial PCs, regardless the manufacturer of the industrial PC. So it's fully decoupling hardware from software, making the software a commodity, putting the focus on the software, and making this in a very complex and scalability demanding environment. So one important thing is when you deploy runtimes, normally they are coupled with an IDE, with a development environment. In the case of the Schneider environment, the runtime is called Soft Debug. Based on UAO, it's called Soft Debug. And the IDE, the development environment, is called EAE. Is where the developers are programming all these complex logics. So the thing is that normally the development environment needs to be connected to the runtime using a local network. This is good because of security reasons, but it's not very practical, because if you need to develop for 150 plans and each plan having hundreds of runtimes, it's basically unmanageable. It's impossible. With Barbara, with the orchestration, you can use a single runtime, a single IDE, a single, in this case, the EAE, the EcoStructure Automation Expert from Schneider, but it could be another IDE as long as it's compatible with IEC 61499. And you can, using the orchestration platform of Barbara, you can program from a single centralized IDE any runtime. Any runtime, even they are in different plans, in different networks, in different locations, in different countries. So for that, our orchestration platform has a built-in VPN service that you will see in action in a few minutes. And yeah, the idea with this project was to deploy runtimes as the central part of the logics to deploy to execute control based on advanced algorithms and AI models. But with Barbara, one other important thing is that you can deploy other applications that interact with the runtime. So if you want to have, for example, a database, from Barbara, we can deploy different types of databases so that the runtime can store the data in the device and have local persistency. You can have data ingestors. You can have MQTT brokers. You can have ingestors to different cloud providers. We do have a good integration, for example, with Aviva, with Azure, with AWS. You can have data visualization. If you want to have data visualization on the node, on the industrial PC, you can deploy applications like Grafana, like Ignition from inductive automation, also from Aviva Edge. And of course, you can deploy AI models, which is, let's say, the more futuristic use case, but which is a reality in Acciona. They are deploying AI models to the industrial PC and taking the data gathered by the runtimes and so on. They are predicting, for example, the amount of chemicals that they need to put, and then they are executing the controls for doing that. So it sounds like very futuristic scenario, but it's a reality. It's something that is already in production. It's already working. It's a project that we've been working in for a little bit over 2 years right now, and it's a reality. It's I think a very, very good example of how software can be decoupled from hardware and can bring real innovations to the field. And with that, I would like to pass the floor to our CTO, Isidro Nistal, who will be doing the practical demonstration.
Good. So then I call Isidro to the stage. Hi, Isidro.
Hello. Hello. Good afternoon. Good morning. Good evening, everybody. So very, very, very pleased to be here with you guys. I'm going to show you a little bit about what David was saying, so you can actually put face and, let's say, understand a little bit about what we are talking about. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
I think you can go ahead.
Okay. So this is Barbara. So in Barbara, what you see is basically a list of nodes. I want to be very clear about what David was saying, that's that we are hardware agnostic. That means that for us, a node is basically a computer that is deployed somewhere, okay? And with a computer, what I mean is that it can be anything that is running our operating system. So basically, we support lots of devices. We also support virtual machines. So all of these devices is what it does is that basically we remove the complexity of managing the operating system of a hardware and then having the drivers for that hardware, and having all the things that comes with managing an operating system, like updates, firmware updates, security updates, all of those things. You can just go here, download the image for your device, you plug it into your device, and you get the device in this list. So once you have the device on this list, you can basically manage it as if it was in your local network. Okay, you can manage it from a central point. You can also do batches. So anything that we're going to be doing today with one device, you can also do it with a batch, or with several devices at the same time. Okay, so what happens here is that, okay, you have purchased this amazing computer, and you say, okay, I want to run the UAO runtime. I want to deploy here my PLC. How do I do that? The reality is that the steps to actually make it work, it takes some time, but it not only takes time, let's say, from a provisioning perspective, from a starting point perspective, it also takes time during the life cycle of the device. And what we know in the OT world, the life cycles are not 3 months, okay? The life cycles are more like 3, 5, 7, 8 years, okay? So Barbara will take you from the very beginning, from the provisioning stage, all the way through the life cycle of that device, so you can keep up and running not only the UAO runtime, but any applications that you want to install on the device. For the demo today, we're going to be working with this Harmony P6. Okay, this is what Barbara looks like internally. I'm going to put a lot of focus here. I'm not going to go through the whole platform, but basically the platform allows you to deploy applications, okay? So, for example, David was talking about deploying Grafana from our marketplace, for example. So we can go to our marketplace, for example. We could look for a Grafana and say, okay, I want to deploy Grafana. You will purchase it. So you can go here, add it to your device, and select it. Basically, you will deploy it a Grafana, okay? But the whole thing here is that you are managing a device from let's say from remotely. So one thing that you can deploy, and that we have a lot of focus on, is that you can deploy the UAO runtime. Okay. So in this case, what I'm going to be deploying today for the demo, I'm going to be deploying it. By the way, this device is not in my network. Okay. So I cannot really get to this Grafana through the IP of the device. I have to go through the VPN. So that means that this device could be anywhere in the world, basically, okay? So I'm going to keep the Grafana running there, and I'm going to start deploying the soft depack. Soft depack, as David was saying, is the implementation of Schneider of the UAO runtime, okay? So it's a product from Schneider, but internally what it has is basically the UAO runtime. So I'm going to deploy the first step to actually deploy the runtime. That is a unit, basically the initial application that basically configures everything on the system for the UAO runtime to be able to run. So it will take some time here, and it says, okay, configuration completed successfully. So I can now go and deploy the runtime. Okay. So this runtime is available on our marketplace only for private, so for people that has the license with the EAE. But you can deploy it directly with a couple of clicks. If you have gone through the runtime deployment Ubuntu installation, you will know that it's probably quite a complex. It's a quite complex scenario. Here, we're gonna do through a wizard. So we're gonna deploy the runtime. Okay, I'm gonna click on next. It's asking me about network configuration. So I'm gonna put my network configuration that I have it in my network card that I showed you before. So I'm going to put something here like an IP that is free in my network. This will be my local network, and I'm going to do it through the VPN. So I'm going to put this as true. So now I have the soft depack configured, so I can send the runtime, and it's going to start executing the runtime. Okay. So now, just with these couple of clicks, I have the runtime up and running and ready to be managed through the EAE, okay? So I'm gonna go through to the EAE. By the way, the EAE, it's in my local network, so I can access this EAE. So EAE is one of the IDEs IDEs that are available for the UAO runtime. So I'm gonna add a server, for example. Okay, I'm gonna be adding the Ethernet card. So here, as you can see, this machine is not in the same network that the runtime is. So this machine is connected to the VPN through the VPN client that Barbara provides. So I'm connected to the VPN, and now I'm gonna be basically configuring a runtime that it's somewhere in the world. Okay, so I'm gonna put the variables that I have from my network card that I have it here, Ino1. Okay, I'm gonna put the IP of the device, that it's the 41. So I'm gonna add it. Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna start the service. It will ask me for security basically credentials. So Oops. What? As always, something has gone wrong. Try again. Sorry. Yeah. I think it's not working at the moment. My God. Sorry, because now it's VPAC, config security. Okay, so now we have the security provision. So we are gonna add the first soft VPAC. So I added. I say that it's in the local network of the device. That is the 160. So that's okay. I also Mac VLAN, that is something that I have to configure. And now I have to configure the runtime. So I'm going to put it for the runtime. I'm going to keep 30,000, so 30 megabytes of RAM. I'm going to add 2 cores to the runtime, or 1 core, for example. Okay. And then I'm going to tell in which IP it's hosted, that is in the 78. So now I can basically send the configuration. I also have to tell the EAE which version of the runtime we are running, that at this moment is 23.1 is the one that is available on our marketplace. So I'm going to apply. It will fail because it fails always the first time. Okay, we will apply it again. Okay, so now we have the soft VPAC configured and running. So I'm gonna link it to one of our logical devices. So now I can go to implementation, and I can actually, just like that, it tells me if I want to deploy the program, if I want to clean before deploying, if I want to execute it at the same time. I'm going to do everything. So I have read the messages, and I want to execute the program that I have loaded. Okay. Okay. So now it's up, and it's compiling, and it should be. It tells me if I want to execute the logic, and it's done. Okay. So what we have seen here, it's a very simple. I haven't really deployed anything, so I have just only basically connected to the runtime, deploy the let's say the empty program. Okay, but the reality here is that now what I have here is basically one soft debug that I can be managing from anywhere in the world, and it's running in an edge device in a plan that could be outside of my network. It could be anywhere. Okay, so if I want to add other soft debugs, I can keep doing that, and I can keep adding soft debugs that are not only in my network but also in VPNs, and I can manage all of them and deploy logics to all of them from a single point. Okay, but not only that. If I go back to Barbara and now I have my soft debug running, I could also deploy here an AI model that connects to the MQTT broker of the soft debug or the runtime from UAO, and gets the data and do something on Python, that is another language. And then basically you can start extracting the value to a PC that is quite expensive because it's an industrial PC that you have deployed. So you can leverage all that compute power from a platform, okay, from Barbara. So you can deploy not only the applications that we have at Marketplace, that are many of them, like databases, Node-RED, MQTT, anything that you want to deploy, but also the runtime, and then do that in not only one node, but then do it in several nodes, in nodes all over the world. Okay, so that's kind of the key element of Barbara, to say how to manage all those soft debugs. Okay, how do you get from buying the industrial PC all the way to the deploying the logic that you want to deploy, but not only deploying it, because deploying it, usually deployments are more or less easy. The problem is how do you maintain it during the time, because if you're going to have developers working on EAE or working on the runtime logics, they will probably want to update things. They will probably want to have different logics for different things. They will want to maybe the life cycle of that application is not static anymore. So I think that what the UAO it's providing is a logic that makes the application the software based, and then software is much more alive. So you really want to change that, and you want to keep updating it. So Barbara will help you to do that in a centralized way, and also in a very secure way, because the operating system that is below is the same. Same thing that we have done with the P6, we could be doing it with an Advantech or with a virtual machine. So we could be launching this machine, for example, this virtual machine is from one of our partners, Stratus. I could be deploying a Stratus that is also member of UAO. We could be deploying the UAO runtime here in the high availability VM, and I could have different capabilities depending on the hardware that is below. Okay. I don't know, David, if you want to add something.
No, I think that was pretty good, Isidro. So this is a demonstration of how a project as complex as deploying things in 150 plants can be much simpler with a platform like Barbara, and with fully decoupling software from hardware. So I'm going to share my screen and do a kind of small wrap up. And by the way, if there are questions, I think that you guys can put your questions as comments into the video, and we can address them either now or offline. But as a wrap up, the first thing that I wanted to
David, you need to share your screen again.
Yeah, I am on it right now. Yes, so one of the things that really make proof that this is really saving resources is that to put the first intelligent application into the field, it took 4 months. So a project like this, couple of years ago, without UAO, without orchestration and everything, maybe it would have taken 1 or 2 years, but with the decoupling from hardware, orchestration and everything, it took 4 months. The KPIs are amazing, and this is public information. I'm not revealing anything confidential, but Acciona is now saving over $250,000 per plant So you can do the math and assume how much impact this is having in their P&L. And using orchestration and software virtualization and runtimes, software runtimes and everything, the reduction of the total cost of ownership of the platform, we have calculated a 74%. So something that without orchestration and without UAO, interoperability will have costed 74% more. So this is the power of Barbara plus IEC 61499. We can define software-defined infrastructure with no hardware dependency, fully flexible to deploy in the same piece of hardware whatever you need in terms of runtime, control logics, visualization, databases, everything from a centralized point of view, and all with the IEC 62443 cybersecurity compliance, which is the norm that we normally adhere to. So also, why Acciona chose Barbara? If you are familiarized more or less with the orchestration market, there are obviously more orchestration products, and IT has been doing orchestration for a long time. So when you deploy websites, when you deploy web applications, this is already done remotely all over the world using orchestration. Platforms like Kubernetes, platforms like the hyperscalers, AWS, Azure, they all claim that they have orchestration. But as the Open Process Automation forum says in their documents, the OT orchestration is very, very different. So in OT orchestration, the focus shouldn't be the scalability and everything. The focus should be having the system running 24/7 every day and having security, high availability, and a user experience that do not require IT expertise. If you want to orchestrate runtimes using, let's say, IT orchestration products, you're gonna need probably very, very high IT experience, command line interfaces, Linux programming, and everything. As you've seen with Barbara, user experience is like any other industrial platform. It's visual, it's simple, and you can do things without coding expertise. And this is, with that I will finalize, this is basically possible because the technology that we've been developing in Barbara in the last years. So it all starts with an operating system, which is compliant with 62443, real time, and with high availability. So this is a development that we are completing as we speak, and that it doesn't require any IT expertise for installation. On top of that, we have the runtimes. Any UAO implementation runtime. We've seen the demo with Schneider, but any other runtime that follows the standard can be orchestrated the same way. And on top of that, our management panel that hopefully you've seen useful, and our marketplace of applications, including not only runtimes, but other applications that can include, that can interact with those runtimes. So with that, I think we're done, Greg. So
good, David, Isidro, thank you. So as said already, please feel free to ask your questions. We'll still have a few minutes to go. For now, I don't see any question. Let me maybe check directly on the website if there are some. But for now, I think you have been quite clear on your presentation. So maybe one question from my side, which is let's say more linked to the technology. So we have seen here that in fact this implementation, what you have done for Acciona is like deploying the 61499 for let's say on multiple sites for Acciona, or making this possible, let's say. But taking about the 4099 and for Acciona as well, maybe just a question, because I think you mentioned it, but just to make it clear as well, why choosing 4099? In fact, for this kind of application? What do you see as really benefit for Acciona in this choice?
I think that the main driver here for the standard was the whole software approach. Okay, so basically, imagine that the Acciona, every time they get a contract with a plant, and it's going to be a contract for 4 or 5 years, they need to go there and they want to put their technology. Okay, so in order to do that, they have to have this software approach. So they need to actually let's say they have to adapt the software that they already have to that specific plan, and that has to be done in very short time because they actually get the contract that they have to start operating in a few months. If they want to do that with all the technologies or with other PLCs, they will have to actually, first of all, the implementation process would be much longer, but also the time to market, but also when they leave and the contract period ends, the removal of that hardware is very difficult. So being with the software PLC and with the technology from UAO, what they can do is basically arrive, time to market very fast. They can stay for the 4 years, do the operations the best way they know, that is with AI models and AI models that are their own property. And then after the 4 or 5 years, they can remove that software and the plant stays as if it was before. Okay, so they are always like, I come, I operate this plant for 4 years, and then I leave. In order to do that complexity of arriving and leaving, it's what makes the platform very, very suitable for.
So this flexibility, this possibility of adding, let's say, functionality on top of the existing, and well, having the possibility to remove it afterwards if let's say the concession or the contract is done, is one. Yeah.
Yes, and also the flexibility of keeping adding new functionality without needing to add more resources. So they started with one use case, and now they are even moving into other areas like energy management and things with the same infrastructure. So this is super powerful. And as I said, the calculation that we've done is that we are saving like 74% of the infrastructure cost.
Yeah. So this scalability basically from one let's say to multiple, and as well not only into multiple in the same domain structure, but multiple into different domains. So not only water, but maybe energy management and some other domain in the future. So yeah, capitalizing on that. Yeah, since this is interesting, and this is, I mean, as Universal Automation.org, this is something we've been pushing, we've been explaining people, but it's always good to see as well from the market that others sees that as well the same way. One other point I saw as well, and we see that with other of our members, especially those let's say operating for utilities, for example, especially in the water segment. The feedback was, yes, the issue is that we need to train people in a multiple technology or multiple hardware. So every brand has its own way of functioning, and then it means that you need to have people with knowledge in all of these brands, because you don't necessarily, let's say, own or master the whole thing. So yeah, kind of reducing as well this need and be able to bring more flexibilities as well. A good point.
Yeah, so this is something great that has happened in the IT world for many times, and we never know why this didn't happen yet in the OT, but hopefully initiatives like this are changing, and with standards like UAO and also with platforms like Barbara, which is using like standard things, standard protocols, standard APIs to do complex things in the OT. Hopefully this can be democratized, which I guess is the objective of everybody.
Yeah, that's necessarily that's the goal. That's the goal. So I'm checking the chat to see if there is any question between. So I don't see for now any questions. So I would say that we can close slowly this live. As you see on the bottom, you have the contact details of both David and Isidro, if you wish to contact them, and contact the company Barbara, which is anyway linked in the comment of LinkedIn. So don't hesitate to reach out to them if you have any question on these use cases, or if yourself you have some other use cases on which you want to partner with Barbara. I think David and Isidro, you'll be happy to do that. Any last word before we close the session?
No. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to be here. And as you said, Greg, if anybody has projects with distributed runtimes, distributed logic in industrial environments, please call us, because we are very happy to collaborate with the community to bring this to life.
Yeah. Then thank you. Just another reminder. I said it in the beginning of this live, but I will repeat again, because maybe some of the viewer were not there at the beginning. But next week we have the SPS fair, and we have a live for this fair for those who cannot make it to the fair. So please just go on our LinkedIn page and you will see this event, and don't hesitate to sign up to it. So I thank you all. Thank you, Isidro. Thank you, David. And talk to you soon, and see you to all the UAO viewers. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, Greg. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.